The Nancy Guthrie kidnapping case has been making headlines for over 6 months now, and it's a story that's both heartbreaking and deeply troubling. The mother of Today Show co-anchor Savannah Guthrie was taken from her Tucson home in the early morning hours of February 1st, and despite the efforts of local and federal law enforcement, there have been very few leads or answers. The lack of progress has led to questions about the investigative missteps along the way, and it's a story that's got a lot of people talking. In this video, I'll be breaking down the key issues and offering my own analysis and commentary on the case. So, let's dive in. First and foremost, it's important to acknowledge the human tragedy at the heart of this story. Nancy Guthrie is presumed dead, and her family is understandably desperate for answers and closure. The fact that there have been no leads or suspects identified after 6 months is deeply concerning, and it's easy to see why the family is frustrated. But as an outside observer, I can't help but wonder if there's more to this story than meets the eye. One thing that immediately stands out is the role of law enforcement in this case. The Pima County Sheriff's Department and the FBI have been working closely with the Guthrie family, and they've publicly expressed gratitude for their efforts. However, the lack of progress and the perceived missteps along the way have led to questions about their handling of the investigation. It's a delicate balance, of course, between respecting the privacy of the family and holding law enforcement accountable for their actions. In my opinion, the key issue here is the lack of transparency and communication from law enforcement. The family has been kept in the loop, but the public has been left in the dark. This raises a deeper question about the role of law enforcement in high-profile cases and the importance of keeping the public informed. It's a fine line to walk, but I believe that law enforcement has a responsibility to be more open and transparent in cases like this. Now, let's talk about the legal implications of this case. Mark Giragos, an attorney to the Stars, has suggested that the Guthrie family could sue Pima County for investigative missteps. While it's true that the family has the right to seek justice, I'm not so sure that a lawsuit is the best course of action. As Brian Sullivan, a partner at Early Sullivan Wright Geiser and McRae, points out, it's very difficult to sue law enforcement for failing to investigate or for basic negligence. One thing that immediately stands out is the role of qualified immunity in such cases. Law enforcement is provided with qualified immunity so long as they were acting in good faith. In other words, even if they make a mistake, they can't be held liable unless it can be proven that they were acting with malicious intent. This is a complex issue, and it's one that requires a deeper understanding of the legal system. Now, let's talk about the ransom notes that were released last week. The first note stated that Nancy would be killed if the Bitcoin demand was not met, and it included a pair of deadlines with progressively larger payouts. The second note, stating that Nancy had perished, was dated February 6th. The Guthries had been willing to pay ransom to get Nancy back, which opens the door for a difficult what-if scenario. What if they had paid the ransom by February 5th? Would Nancy have been returned alive? This raises another burning question: were the Guthries advised by the police or the feds not to pay? Law enforcement, including the FBI, is almost always against paying out ransom or blackmail. Even if that were the case here, it wouldn't satisfy a burden of fault in a court of law. But, as we've seen, the line between good faith and malicious intent can be blurred, and it's a complex issue that requires a deeper understanding of the legal system. Finally, let's talk about the internal records uncovered by the Wall Street Journal. According to these records, the head of homicide, David Stivers, was reprimanded for exhibiting poor judgment, leading to delays in securing crime scene evidence in a homicide case. In the Guthrie case, Stivers and his detectives have been criticized for missing or ignoring the dried blood on Nancy's porch for the first several hours of the investigation. It's a shocking revelation, and it raises questions about the competence and professionalism of law enforcement. In my opinion, the Guthrie case highlights a deeper issue within law enforcement. The removal of some of the department's best detectives because they supported Heather Lappin's election campaign is a troubling development. It raises questions about the integrity and professionalism of law enforcement, and it's a reminder that there's more to this story than meets the eye. The blood blunder wasn't the only day one mistake, and it's a reminder that law enforcement needs to be held accountable for their actions. In conclusion, the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping case is a complex and troubling story. While it's easy to focus on the human tragedy at the heart of this story, it's important to also consider the legal and ethical implications of law enforcement's handling of the investigation. The lack of transparency and communication from law enforcement is a concern, and it's a reminder that there's more to this story than meets the eye. As an outside observer, I can't help but wonder if there's more to this story than we're being told. But, for now, that's all I have to say on the matter. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video informative and thought-provoking.